Welcome to Spatial Data Hub. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create your first map using QGIS. At the end of this video session, you'll be able to add the relevant map elements to a standard map. So here on my QGIS window, I have a random line feature. One thing you need to note is that if when creating a map, what gets exported to your map is your QGIS window. So you'll be sure to turn off all the layers which you do not want to show on your map. For example, I don't want these polygons here on my map, so I'll turn this off and zoom in to show exactly the line feature which I want displayed on my map. If you want to add a base map layer, you can turn this on, and when you're satisfied, you go ahead to create your print map layout. So on the top of your screen here, you see Show Layout Manager, you see New Print Layout. To create a new map, you can click the New Print Layout. The Show Layout Manager just helps you manage the maps, create maps or edit previous maps which you have created, or create a new template. So let's create a new map. From here, what we can call it will be anything. Let's call it spatial data. Do well to subscribe and like this video if you find it helpful. You will actually. And if you're new to GIS data, you're in the right place. So this is our print layout. The first thing we'll do is to set up our pages. Right click and go to page properties. On this dialog box at the bottom here, you'll see how to set the page sizing. Do you want it as A4 or do you want it as A3? It helps when you are printing out an A3 paper on an A3 from an A3 sheet. Here, if you want it as landscape or portrait, or if you want to manually edit the width and the height of your map, then you can do that here. The background of the map, do you want it to be colorless or white, or do you want a different color? You can set that up here. And when you are satisfied with this, one more thing you can do with the pages is that you can add multiple pages. You can add multiple pages. You can add any number of pages. Let's add one page. We're already on A3, so we'll continue on A3 and can add multiple pages. When you add multiple pages, you can use the scroll bar on the right to switch between pages. Let's not get confused here, so just undo that page. Now the first thing to add to your map is your map layout. So click on Add Map. You see that the cursor changes to help us draw the map. On the edge of the map, at the top left there where my cursor is, you will see how it's syncs, it detects the edge and it's ready to draw. So what you just do is double click and draw from edge to edge, if that is what you want. Not everyone draws from edge to edge. So you can draw from edge to edge if that's what you want. If you want it to just cover a little section of the map, which is more often necessary for school projects, then you produce it this way. Yeah, so depending on the specifications you're working with, in this case I'll just work with edge to edge because I personally prefer it that way. So when you're done drawing your map, you can set up your map scale. Your map scale cannot be random numbers. So you can set up our map scale to 1 in 20,000. Enter. To see the settings of any feature which you have entered on your map, click on the feature and then you see it on item properties. Yeah. So set our map scale to this. One thing we can also do here is we can lock the layers. We can lock the styles for layers. If we do not lock the layers, if you don't lock the layers, when you go back to your QGIS window and you make any edits, it will affect the map that you are working on. Even if you are done with it, you have exported it, it will affect it, and whenever you come again, you will have to redraw the map. Yeah. So, but locking your layers tells the map canvas to say there is no longer any effect until this is unlocked. So the next thing we'll do here is that we can add grids. We can add grids. Let's add a grid. We can add grid. We can add grid coordinates. So on grids, click on the drop down, click on the plus icon, and then this is called grid 1. You can modify grid. You can set up the different grid types. I like the cross because it's subtle. And then we can set up the interval. Let's set it at 30 and x-axis. No. Oh wow, that will be okay. This is as map units, that will be 30 meters interval, which is very small, very large for this our map view. So let's call it, we'll leave it at 30. Okay, let's do something else. 3,000. Now you can see this cross grid coordinates. One more thing we'll do is to draw coordinates. Let's show that the coordinates will show on the map. You can add a frame if you want. I'm not really a fan of that all the time, but for working on school maps, yeah, it's normally relevant. Then you can draw coordinates on your map. So these coordinates are synced with these lines. Yeah, the grids. So when you draw coordinates, you can set the coordinates to different formats: decimal, degrees, decimal, suffix. Be sure that the coordinates which you want representing on your map are from the coordinate reference system which of interest. You can set up coordinate reference system here where my cursor is. Just click on it and it takes you the coordinate reference system of choice. You can check previous videos on that. So I'll drop the link in the description actually. So you can decide that you do not want to show the coordinates on the left hand side or on the right hand side. If you don't want to show it on the left hand side, you disable it. On the right hand side, if you want to show it but you don't want to show you don't want it to display this way, you can set it to vertical ascending and then it aligns with the map line. And that's about that. The next thing we'll do The next thing we'll do is to enter a map title. Enter a map title. We'll see this text box to add labels. Now we can add a simple label here, calling it on the map properties. If you make mistake and click outside of it, don't get worried. Just click on the area where it is and go to the item properties. So you can delete this and call it map routes. Here you can edit the color of the write-up. Here you can edit the font of the write-up. You can edit the fonts. You can edit the text settings, the font styling. When you're satisfied, you can edit this. You can center the map title, set it into the middle. You can add a background. You can add a frame for the map title so that it has its distinct area. One thing again, you can add a background for the map title. You can change the color of the background. For the record, this is actually what I use in creating thumbnails for my YouTube channel. Yeah. So you can add a background. One thing I like to do is to make it white and then reduce the transparency so that it looks like the map, but it's a bit distinct. Yeah. So when you're done adding a map title, we can add a legend. You can add a legend. Draw your legend here. There are so many things that are on our map, but the easy way to filter it through is first turn off auto updates. Turn off auto updates and then check this box that says only show items inside linked maps. Yes. When you turn that on, every other thing disappears. So you can now draw your map satisfactorily. Even if you have a long list of items and you do not want to, you want to show some of them. If there are any other items that are not here that you would like to show on your map, you can always click the plus icon. I'm not sure any reason why you want to add what's not on your map into your legend, but you can always click the plus icon and click on the feature and say okay. So on this legends, the same thing that applies to our map title applies here. You can add a frame. It comes with its natural background, which is white. You can turn that off. You can turn it on or still say reduce the transparency, increase the transparency rather. Increase the transparency. And when you're satisfied with playing with any of these features, you click on OK. You can align this map legend with the map title. As you can see, there is this very thin line that comes to the edge. Let me take it further here and then align this with it. The next thing we'll do is to add our orientation indicator, popularly known as the north arrow. So add the north arrow, draw it this way. Again, you can click on it on the item properties. You can select any kind of north arrow which you want. There are different types. Yeah, there are different types of north arrows. You can choose to set a frame for it. I don't find that relevant anyways. You can set a background for it and play around with it. You can always add a scale bar so that your map becomes readable. Add a scale bar. Yep. If you want to, you can add a frame for it. Your frames, you can always reduce the thickness of the frame. That's one more thing you can always edit. Yeah, you can edit the thickness of the frame so that it becomes a little more subtle and less obvious, as you can see for the scale bar. Yep. So you can also organize the features. Yeah, if you want to, if you make a mistake and you like to redraw your map, sometimes you might need to organize these features to say, oh, I want the map to go on top, I want the map to come back under, those kind of things. You can organize these layers. If there is any feature here on the map which you want to turn off, you can turn off these items directly here without necessarily deleting them off the map completely. Then you can add images. You can add images here. Add a picture. You can add images. You can simply drag and drop images from your directory into, you can drag and drop images from your image directory into your print layout. So any image of choice, you can add images. Oh, these are cloud images. Okay, yeah, it has come up. It's hard to download it, hence the delay. So you can add images of choice and organize and adjust its settings here. You can also organize its location using the location items panel here. I'll delete that off. Then you can also add attribute tables. You can add attribute tables if you have an attribute table on your layer which you like to have displayed. You can include it here. On your own too, you can draw a table by yourself. Add a fixed table. You can draw a table and then edit the table. Click on edit table and enter in the features instead of A here. Okay, you have 120, 300, 322. So you can edit these features to reflect whatever it is you want on your map. And as you can see, it's directly shown here on the map. You can edit the features here of the table. It's just like every other thing. You can edit the font style. You can draw more lines. You can, maybe I'll prepare a separate video for that. So when you're done with all of these settings, the next thing we need to do is export our map. Always remember to save your edits. Control save. I have an autosave layer, autosave feature here. So to save your edits, you can do Control S or click here. No, that's to save as a template. Click here to save project. Yeah, to save project, you can click here. Then to export your map as an image, click here to export as an image. to export as a PDF, you can export as SVG. Here we'll just export as an image, close this, and then it exports to your directory of choice. When you're done with that, click on save. You can set a resolution. 300 dpi is cool enough. You can set page width and page height, and you're good to go. Click on save and export your map. So like I said earlier, if you want to, using the layout manager, you can click on the layout manager and you'll see this thumbnail, which what's it called, map, which we just created. Double click on it and it opens right up for you to edit it properly again. So that will be it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Do well to leave any questions that you have in the comment section, and I'll be there to attend to it as soon as I can. Like, subscribe, and if you're new to Spatial Data Hub, you're in the right direction, because this channel has lots of interesting and relevant things, relevant GIS created videos that could help you in your learning journey. So do well to check it out, check out the playlist, and I'll see you in the next video.